Just some wee tips for if you ever consider trying to get into full armoured medieval combat. If you order cheap Indian mild steel armour and you do not keep it oiled and on an armour stand, and you go walking through salt water at the beach that's full of lice because you don't want to get bitten, so you wear armour so that you don't get bitten by lice, it will rust, and it's going to cost you either a lot of grinding discs and elbow grease or $4,000 to get a new titanium set, because this stuff rusts. Cheap armor rusts, especially when you live somewhere like I live. I live right on the coast. The gloves fell to bits. Literally, this one didn't, but the other one fell completely to bits, and I had to try and re-put them onto these welding gloves. I attempted to re-rivet them. It's honestly not worth the time, just because of how amateurish this is. But it's not completely amateurish. I must admit they did a good job on the dishing here with the Gothic gauntlets. The gauntlets were really good. The chest plate is amazing, except for this really spiky little emblem here, which just catches on every piece of cloth that you could possibly imagine. I might remove that. This armor is... well, I spent basically all my ad revenue on this armor for a music video, which didn't take off, and now it's rusting. And I went to a medieval fight thing with about 5 other people who were fighting, and the dude said, yeah, the chest plate's up to standard and the legs are up to standard, but like 90% of this makes it so I can't fight. So I was allowed to fight slow speed, but full speed combat was completely off the menu just because it's not even thick enough. I thought that this was battle standard ready. It is not battle standard ready. It's 1mm thick. Don't make the mistake that I did unless you're just using this as cosplay. I did some torture testing on the armor. I got a post and I smacked the helmet as hard as I could with a basic weapon, and it just instantly dents. If that was your head and you did not have this fluffy Russian controversial hat that I do, then you would definitely have a broken skull. A sallet is not a good helmet to go for. You definitely want to go for a bassinet griffin if you want a decent helmet for the first starting out. There's just some tips. These Sabatons, while they might look nice, if you don't have the right proper shoes to go with these, which I don't and didn't, this thing right here will dig the heck into your ankles, and it will hurt like anything. It will feel the equivalent of walking on Legos with wet socks. That's my description of basically how it is. These leg pieces, the top pieces, I must say these actually did pretty well, and they haven't rusted too bad despite being walked through salt water on a training exercise. These things, they look amazing. They look amazing, but if they get hit, they will buckle and they will end up looking like this, and you will have an absolute nightmare putting them back on. These straps will not go properly. I would recommend definitely padding up. I like to wear just a regular horse riding vest, or possibly even if I just go to the garage really quick. I'm just going to go to the garage super quickly, quickly, I don't know what I just said then. But in the garage I have what is just, this isn't mine, but it's a borrowed one that a friend let me use. It is a life vest. I would definitely recommend wearing either a horse riding vest or just a cheap life vest that you can get from an op shop, which is just like one of those little cheap thrift shops where you can get stuff for cheap. And also they have standard rules in proper competitions. If you want to enter, you're going to need shoes that practically have no grip and are quite smooth. I don't know why this is, it's just competition rules. I think it's to avoid people wearing things like steel caps that can do ridiculous damage. I have bought a pair for quite expensive of work boots that I used at my waste management job to do running on the rubbish trucks, and they are steel cap running shoes. I would definitely say that they're a good option if you want to yeah, steel cap running shoes are going to be an excellent option to wear under this. I must say they did an excellent job on the fluting. If you just look at the armour design, I don't know whether this was pressed out or how on earth they did this, but the back plate seems to have taken like no damage compared to the rest of the armour. I don't know if this is because I oiled it or if it's because they oiled it, but this back plate is legendary back plate. The pieces here don't flick up either, which is really nice. The front, however, well, as you can see, that's my blanket. This is a crocheted blanket that my mother knitted over a period of about a year. This was many years ago now. Oh, just a second. This hefty Heffalumper is actually pretty good. The only thing that I must say is a problem is the emblem. This thing can stick out and cut your little nails and leave all sorts of little lacerations all over your fingers. These things are excellent, but they are so loud. These are the tassets that guard your thighs. I would recommend just wearing a regular gambeson. I don't know where my gambeson is at the moment. Somewhere around here, but I would recommend just not wearing these if you're trying to do stealth, because it doesn't work for stealth. Every single step you take, it is so loud. If you're walking through an area where you don't want to be loud, you're going to just... everyone else in your group is going to be like, oh, will you shut up, because it's just so flipping loud. It bangs against the edge of the thing, and it's just an absolute nightmare. If you're wearing it on a horse, it's probably not a long enough strap, because this is just infantry armor. You're going to want to buy specialized armor if you're going to want to do equestrian, which I haven't done, but I have seen. And I can just imagine the absolute nightmare that this would be if you were trying to do equestrian battle. These little back tassets, they look amazing, but their functionality I'm slightly questioning, because there's a huge big gap in this cheap armor, and it's your buttocks. If you do not have buttocks armor, I can just imagine someone sneaking up behind you and poking you in the butt with a little dagger. It would hurt like anything. So the competitions, some more advice. Definitely invest in a seatbelt and gambeson leggings, which I do not have, because I've tried using a belt with just shoelaces and it is painful. The weight of the leg armor, this leg armor here, I'll just demonstrate. Oh, how's it go? If I put this on, the sheer weight is about 10 kilograms distributed on things, so that's what, like 5 kgs. It's basically like wearing a dumbbell on your leg, and this thing is only held up by these two little straps here. These two little cords are supposed to go around a seatbelt so that it doesn't fall off, but it doesn't always work, and I've had the belt slide down and it's digging into your side, and you're trying to move around, and it weighs like 25 kilograms. Which isn't actually much, considering this is only 1mm, but if you get a proper set of like spring steel, it's going to weigh upwards of that. I would recommend getting straight to titanium. Just save up, wait the extra time until you've got $4,000 and buy titanium. Don't even do the mild steel section. It's great if you're just getting into it as like a little side hobby. I would recommend this armor. But if you're wanting to actually go into competitions and actually get whacked in the head, definitely save up for some proper gear, because I made the mistake. I had the money, I had like $2,000, and I was like, this is the thing on Etsy, I'm going to buy it, it's going to be awesome. I did it, it was awesome for a little while, and then all the problems started showing themselves, and it is a lot of work maintaining a full suit, constantly polishing and shining it if you want it to actually look good. As you can see, this is so much rust build-up, and I've oiled it and everything. This has probably been the period of about 2 months, and after that time it's going to form a rust layer. There is a special spray that you can get that goes on the top that basically forces it to rust all the way and then chemically locks it so it doesn't rust anymore, but it looks absolute garbage, and you're not going to have the nice shiny suit of very cool looking stuff. It's going to be like, this guy got armor from Home Depot. So just little tips to keep in mind if you ever consider getting into fully armored medieval combat. Also, cheap helmets break. The rivets on this thing snapped off just from me pulling it. You can see that there's buckles on the side of it. It's been bent and bashed about and battle with other people who are way more experienced than me. The other guys there had like proper spring steel and plastic armor, and they would have absolutely wrecked me in a fight. Especially because it reduces mobility by so much when you buy cheap stuff. I would definitely recommend leather when it comes to legs, just for the mobility. Like thick leather, or what's that, splint armor. Splint armor would be excellent, but it's quite heavy, so you have to work up the strength. I would definitely recommend getting into an exercise regime, lifting boulders or running marathons or just anything, swimming even, just to build up the muscles so that you can actually carry this stuff. Because when I first got into it, it was difficult, and I was actually quite fit at the time that I started getting into it. I'm not particularly fit now, I'm quite fat, but I used to be fit, and it was still hard. So just some tips and pointers from your boy, and have an excellent day or night, depending on when you're watching this. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.